We finally moved aboard our new boat. Previous called Ice Dancer 2, the new Noeta is a 57-foot Nordhavn built in 2003. After selling our previous boat in Mexico a couple of months ago, we drove north with many of our possessions to meet her. Welcome aboard. We are Alexa, Pat, and Gilligan the Fat Boat Cat. Follow us as we live aboard and cruise the U.S. and Mexico on our 57-foot Nordhavn Noeta with no ETA. So we hauled out the 57 yesterday, and fortunately James Knight is a great teacher because he showed up and said I was driving from the dock into the sling. And while I docked most all of our boats, I don't enjoy it usually. I haven't done a lot of it, but he said too bad. So we brought it over. It's not very far, but had to put it in that sling behind me there, or that hoist. We did great. Lots of wind though, lots of traffic, so it was a good test of, I guess, his teaching, really. Got it in the sling and didn't hit anything, just went slow. So anyway, and now the boat is torn up. We've been on the hard for a little over 24 hours, and in that short time, I'll take you inside. We've taken all the headliners down because they were kind of circus tent looking, very saggy. They'd been done once in their history, but they hadn't been done correctly, so they just didn't hold. There was also used to be a valance that's just kind of dated and needed to be removed. Took that off. I've removed, oh my gosh, there's so much, a ton of speaker wire. It's a pile down here right now. There were some Bose speakers, actually pretty good speakers, but they're 15 years old. So we're going to replace that with some Sonos systems. And so I'm just cutting out all the wire. We want to start fresh and not have a bunch of junk up in here. No boater likes to open things up and find just old wires that don't do anything. So, did I mention Pat's out of town? So, not for fun. Of course, he's working and he'd rather be here. But, so, yeah, I've been with lots of help from folks at Yacht Tech. I've learned how to do a few new things. So all of the lights that hung down didn't have connectors like this that just make it easy to plug and unplug lights. So I spent a good portion of today putting connectors on all of these. I think there's, I don't know, 15 or so lights here in the pilot house. Tomorrow I'll be doing the salon. And then in my free time, I went over to Yacht Tech and had them teach me how to prep headliners and cut the corners and cut the fabric, mostly prep. There was a lot of old adhesive on there that when they had done them a while ago, they didn't remove the old adhesive, and so we had to remove it. And so I spent a good deal of time with Chris over there, and back and forth between the boat and the shop. And my hands are sore. I've removed thousands and thousands of staples, I think, out of some of these headliners. And so I will really appreciate them once they're done. But we're putting black here in the pilot house. It's not what used to be here. It used to be a white color. So in here it'll be darker, which is good for nighttime cruising for sure. Takes away some of the glare. And then we'll do, it's a pearl something color for the rest of the boat. And so it should look really pretty when it's done. And then that was my day. And then this is a weird one. So I'm unloading boxes because we got like 25 Amazon boxes from the car. And a guy stops in a truck and he says, "Hey, are you Alexa?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he said, "Well, I watched your YouTube video." And his name was Jordan. And I'm like, oh, my first question was, well, what boat are you on? Because anyone that watches any of these, I thought was on boats. And he's like, well, no, I'm a fan of boats. I'm a fan of this type of boat. Anyway, he had been admiring the boat earlier and went to the back and take a picture of it and realized it said Noeta, and so realized that we might be here. And anyway, struck up a chat. He got to see the Nordhavn, I don't know, personality when I'm like, well, come on aboard and see the boat. It's a mess. He saw it in a state like this. And so he got to see it as a total mess. But it made me think about the fact that if I run into any of you guys who are watching and you do want to see the boat or you want to come aboard and you have questions, and Jordan had a bunch, you're welcome aboard anytime. So just please shout out if we're in your area and come on aboard and see. Hey, this is Jordan.
Hi.
Jordan, I met him in a parking lot and he's like, hey, I know you. I followed your videos.
Yeah.
And so we love this. And now Jordan just got a tour of the boat.
So just dropped by. I'm from Montana, Whitefish, and just said, hey, wait a minute, I know you. So here we are getting a tour.
I love that. So yeah, if anybody's nearby, you should come by and we'll give you a tour of the boat anytime. All right, thanks, Jordan. Anyway, been a big day. Wish Pat was here, but he does too. But there'll be plenty of other headliners for him to work on when he gets here. That's today's update.
Hey, hi.
So we are on Noeta 5728 now. And now we have a few weeks, hopefully, all of projects.
Doing bottom paint, which they got the first coat on. We have to redo the engine mounts. We think one of them is actually broken, maybe two. So we've decided we're going to pull the shaft and make sure we get everything done right, because the 57 has a really long prop shaft. I think it's like 17 feet.
Yeah, that holds the propeller on the back for those who are not boaters. And then the engine mounts support the engine. There's 4 of them, right?
4.
And they, I'll throw in some pictures so you can see.
You get some gratuitous engine mount pics.
We can do that. But right now, the boat is totally torn apart. It's just a mess because there's so many projects, getting things out of the engine room, getting old stuff off that the owners left. And so our aft cockpit here is just stuffed with stuff. There's a green salon chair here, and we have another one here. We're turning those black.
Oh, that was a helm chair.
What did I say?
Salon.
It's definitely not a salon chair because the salon, we'll go in there, is purple. So that's, well, burgundy? Plum.
Plum.
Plum, yeah.
Lots of plum.
Lots of plum. So, and then there was a valance that we took down. It's just a little dated, so it needs a little love. So we'll be changing the upholstery and all that over. But there are also toilets in here. So
we get to redo toilets.
Turns out they have a vacuum flush system, which actually is acting up.
It doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck. We need it to suck. So for now, we have 2 new Tecma toilets in here.
Yes. Probably next week, we'll start doing that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to do the headliners and the lights, and he can do the toilets. But little by little, getting stuff done. We got our stereo system set up, just doing a Sonos Bluetooth. It's a lot easier than wiring everything.
We're
so much.
redoing the electronics, which I think that'll be a whole separate episode.
I'll show you some of that. So in the pilot house, there's some dated stuff. We found the paperwork. It was all installed in 2003. So give you a little glance of that stuff. So it's pretty much all going, unless, we might Hello? Might keep that? Or the CD player. I don't know. But, oh, cameras are on. Up here, obviously, we're doing headliners, too.
We're doing everything.
There's so much to do. And we knew this. We bought the boat knowing this. Eventually, we'll turn this green into a more toned-down color. And, yeah, so you'll be hearing lots about projects over the next few weeks. Yeah, up on the flybridge, we removed some little lights.
Not little. They were huge.
They're giant lights.
240-volt lights they put on fishing boats. They were huge.
And they used a lot of power, so just not a good setup. We need some good. So
we're gonna, obviously those are gone, and we'll put we use LED lights because they're more economical, and we're looking at doing maybe psionics night vision camera or FLIR. I don't know. We're kind of seeing where all that part comes together.
Yeah. So we have a lot to do. You'll hear a lot about projects, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be able to splash and test all these systems that we're doing. Anyway, that's our update for today.
Yay! Hey, one of the other things we're doing is replacing our toilets. The vacuum flush toilets that were on the boat, they didn't create a vacuum, so the vacuum pump always ran, particularly in this head. It was like to the point where you'd have to turn it off at night, and then this one eventually just stopped even working correctly. So really kind of forced us into changing these toilets sooner. So we've gone with a Tecma 2G Silent. I don't know what that means, but that's the model. James Knight and I spent all day yesterday removing all the old components, all the old black water lines, which were gross. They were sticky and slimy and probably original. So all new hoses. We'll finish this up today. One of the things we had to do, as you can see over here, is we had to find a place to mount the flusher, because there's really not a good place anywhere else in here. So, tremendous mess. And up here, you can see this is the work in progress. And then under here, that's where all the vacuum flush and plumbing, hoses, black water hoses, that's the freshwater accumulator tank. It's a space that only James Knight can fit in.
So when your dryer doesn't work on your Nordhavn, you have to figure out that they do some funny things in the factory. Oops. So they put the clamshell over a stainless steel vent grill, and behind that we're probably going to find some mosquito mesh to stop the bugs getting in. Unfortunately, over the years, that gets jammed up with lint, of course. Now, the problem is that they gel coat over the screws that hold, then you've got to go hunt for the screws. Normally there's a screw at the top and a screw at the bottom. In this instance, they conveniently put just one screw in the middle, so you can see where we were hunting for the screw head, because it's gel coated over, and found it in the middle, so we knew where to go for the one on the other side. Once you've seen one Nordhavn,
you've seen one Nordhavn.
Hi.
Yeah, so this is what you find when you take the clamshell off. We did find another screw in the top, of course. Now, that's the discharge for the dryer downstairs in the master stateroom. Well, why would you put that in there, screw it in place, and you'll be surprised to find what's behind it too. If my theory is correct, we're going to pull that off and find mosquito mesh or something behind it. Probably a whole load of lint too, but we'll see. Anyway, the fact is, they put that sucker in there, and then they put screws in to hold this in place, and then they neatly faired and gel coated over the screw heads so nobody would ever be able to find them again. Ooh. Well, no mosquito. Oh yeah, there is mosquito mesh.
He does it like that.
doesn't do much for airflow. And actually the lint's collected on it and then fallen off on the inside. So now let's turn the dryer on and see if it moves any air.
Turn it on.
It's not in the engine room. Oh, the breaker is there.
I turned it off.
The breaker's in the engine room?
No, it's right here.
Oh.
What you working on now?
Well, this is the cover for the laundry vent. It was part of our dryer thing. We weren't sure if it was blowing air or if it was plugged, so we could take this off to take the vent cover thingy off, which had a screen on it, which actually wasn't too bad. So
what are you doing?
I'm repairing this.
Oh, okay.
I put in, it's like this, it's like a epoxy putty stuff, filler, and so just kind of sanding and smoothing it out because it was pretty bad.
Making it pretty.
Trying to make it pretty.
So the dryer project started when James was bringing down the boat, and he found that there wasn't any hot air coming out of the vent, which there should have been, and it had this plus another shell casing over it, but there was still no hot air blowing out of here. So we've spent the last couple of days here trying to problem solve that and troubleshoot it. So this is how you access the dryer vent, and the dryer seemed to be working, but there was no heat venting outside where it was supposed to be venting. And so they put me into my closet back here so that I could see if there was stuff in the vent hose. And I've discovered that there's 2 vent hose holes, one on the back and one on the side. And the vent was attached to one and the back of it was totally open. So for however long the previous owners were using this dryer, they were just venting the back wall. So we should probably pull it out and clean back there. But when I was back there, I found this. So this was supposed to be attached to the back to make all the hot air vent outside. So I'm gonna go put that on and we're gonna clean. We took out the dryer, so we fixed that, put it back yesterday, and we're really excited, and then came back and we still weren't finding air coming out of here. So today I took the front off thinking maybe the fan wasn't blowing, and found that the fan in fact was blowing.
And moving a lot of air.
And moving plenty of air, but it wasn't coming out of here. It was definitely going through the vent hose. So then I took the wall off of the closet after I took everything out of the closet and found that somebody had cut the vent hose at some point, and I could see the one that came to here, but then they had aimed the vent hose forward into the boat. And so I figured maybe a vent hose was running somewhere else outside. So we backtracked it, Pat and I did, and couldn't find it venting anywhere. So I removed the vent hose from inside the closet and found it was venting into an open space that's accessible because it houses fluid for the stabilizers. Yes. And it's full of lint. So maybe the previous owner was trying to heat the boat. I'm not sure, but now they have lots of lint all over the inside of the boat, and they were venting it inwards, which is not a great idea. So I've since reattached the to come out here. So right now it's actually blowing hot air out here. You can see it blowing.
And we're going to clean that up.
Yeah, we're going to clean all that up. I'm not sure why the previous owner did this. I might shoot him an email and see if there was a problem he came across. My guess is because he had this filter, maybe lint was getting in it and air wasn't coming out, but instead of checking this, because it was fiberglassed over, so it had never been opened before, he just moved the vent. So might touch base and see if there was some other issue causing him troubles. But I think we fixed another issue. So good day for us. Of course, we needed to balance the work with the fun. So one of our first happy hours on board included glacier ice that James had collected on his trip down from Homer, Alaska. That's from a glacier. A glacier. Glacier. Nice. As the sun sets on our first week in the shipyard, we have to remind ourselves that all of this work will be worth it when we're off cruising the world.